Couple of things is we're going to do is I'm Frank Marfi, my colleague. I'll let you introduce yourself. This is so awkward.
Marsha Corby.
Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a share, and I'm going to start. So we're going to do a little bit about breakout rooms, a quick overview, and then what we're going to have you do is have an opportunity to practice and experience firsthand what it is like to be a student. And time permitting, we will also give you some chances to see what it's like as an instructor. So we're going to do Zoom breakout rooms. So a couple things. One of the things is that you do need a pro account. That means either a paying Zoom or that Phoenix College is providing you that resource. Currently, the free version, if I recall correctly, Marsha, correct me if I'm wrong, does not let you actually do breakout rooms.
That's correct.
So, right, the free version only lets you talk to your class, but doesn't let you break them into groups. So you really do need to either pay for the pro account or, as Joe had mentioned, to put in a request why you'd want to. One of the reasons is because there's nothing really that lets you do breakout rooms conveniently, easily, and seamlessly as Zoom. So if you're planning to do small group work, Zoom is the right choice to use.
What if you want to just work with one student at a time? Would you have a one-person breakout group?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can do that. So you'd leave the class in the main session, then you just break them out. So what you want to do is a couple of things. When you're having students work in groups, you want them to be able to share with each other and collaborate easily. If you don't do the idea of all participants, what ends up happening is that students cannot share their boards with each other. Breakout rooms, you also have to prearrange to enable that option on your menu. So you want to allow hosts to assign participants to breakout rooms, and this allows you to also arrange students ahead of time. And this is under settings. Yeah.
Only one kind of annoying thing about putting your students in ahead of time. I believe you might run into a bit of a hiccup because how you add them is through their email, which is great if it's like, I know that Frank is my student and Frank also has a Zoom account or at least has a free Zoom account. But if it's like, let's say James, who's just accessing it from his phone or from my link, remember, it's not going to make him actually sign in. So in that case, it might be a little trickier to do. So I've personally never assigned ahead of time just because, well, A, that's rather new, but B, you know, for that reason alone, I feel like a lot of times students are just clicking your link and they potentially are driving while they're watching. I mean, so
it's happened enough times. Yep.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. I've seen one student actually in a golf cart while he was trying to learn, which it's like, what are you doing? But that's another story altogether. Okay. So other settings is you want to make sure, again, you want to allow a shared screen with annotations. So allow the host and participants to use the annotation tools. So one of the things is if you don't, then only the person who started the board can write on the board, but you want to actually let anyone who has a whiteboard enable other students to also add to it, especially if you, for example, when we used to in live classes where you take a whiteboard and you'd pass it out, everyone's writing on it. I mean, usually you had one person who was like taking most of the charge, but others would be adding to that thought process. So this enables that possibility. Otherwise, only the student who initiated the board would be able to do that. And the other idea, which is really helpful, is to have the auto saving of the whiteboard content, so you can actually see what students worked on. And also letting them to be able to save lets them upload, especially when you want them to share. Lastly, you want them to be, we want to be able to share files because maybe you want them to open up a particular document or a particular link. So these are things that will let you do that.
Just a heads up, you can still share a link to a Google Drive file in the chat. But the difference is if I do this, for instance, I could send you all a file. So I'm going to do it right now. So let me just send you a screenshot. Okay, so check that out. So I just sent you all a file. If you open the chat, you can see right there. So the difference between sending a file and sending a Google link to your Google Drive, if you have that turned on, I can actually send my file through there. So you guys should be able to click on it and whatever. Versus if I send a Google Drive link, it's going to launch Google Drive and send them somewhere else, which is fine either way, but just so you know the difference.
So what we're going to do next, let's see if you guys see this. Hopefully not, because now I'm just, do you guys see my chat window or no?
Yes.
You do? Okay. So we'll do like that. We'll do like that also.
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm not really monitoring the chat stream. Part of the thing is when you're using Zoom, there's certain things that the host sees that the participants do not, which tends to cover up some of the things that they're looking at. So there we go. All right, so as we're looking at the settings, let's move to the next one. So over here, we have a pretend room created with a bunch of virtual people who don't exist. And the idea is how do you actually create a breakout room? You would use the More feature over here, clicking on the horizontal dots. And what you would do is choose breakout rooms. Again, just going back, you need to make sure that setting is enabled in your Zoom master account. Now you have the choice of doing breakout rooms. There's actually a couple of choices. You have one where you just let Zoom do it for you. You choose the number of breakout rooms and it will randomly assign the students to the room. Now what's interesting is that if you were to reopen a room during class afterwards, it remembers who was where. So the first time truly is random, and after that it just kind of remembers the setting. So if you want to remix the groups, you'd actually have to move them yourself. The other option is to actually have them manually assigned to groups. And this actually is the one that's being illustrated in this example here.
You can also have them automatically assigned just to give you like sort of a base point. And then what I like to do is I'll look at it, I'll do an auto assign, and then I look and say, oh, I don't want Frank and Cindy working together. That's too much. So then I'll swap somebody else out or whatnot. So it's kind of just an easy way to at least get some randomization, and then you can just tweak it from there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if, for example, later in the course, let's say they have specific groups because they've chosen a particular project, then you might choose to actually have them assigned in their particular groups that they chose. Like in the case of a statistics capstone project, they already picked which topic they wanted to work on, and those who picked the same topic were assigned into a particular group and given those times then to actually work together. So it really depends. Randomization is great. And if you find that certain groups are not working together, you can also exchange or remix them afterwards.
How are the breakout rooms labeled?
Breakout room 1, breakout room 2, breakout room 3, breakout room 4.
But
You gotta kind of know what's there.
Go ahead,
You
Sam.
can also change the name of the breakout rooms when you pre-assign them. If you're scheduling a meeting, you can do that as well.
Okay.
So pretty much this goes to your question. Okay, I can't see where that is. So
I got it.
You got it.
Frank, you know you can turn that on, right? Even though you're in presenter view?
Yeah, I just don't see where it is because I moved everything around it.
Okay.
Oh, I see, because I can do that, and now I see it. Okay, so I
You
just
can
moved
still
it.
hit the chat and have it in a different window, or have it.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'm not sure what you guys see. I think you guys only see my PowerPoint, correct?
No, we're saying assigning participants to breakout room.
Okay, so you see the participants, you see the Zoom chat, and then you see the breakout room PowerPoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
You
it's
don't,
PowerPoint or not.
but you don't see who's actually in the room, and you don't see the console of what the options are for me, right?
Well, I see a checklist for the 4 people to be assigned to breakout room 1.
Oh, perfect. So you're looking at, yeah, you're seeing what the
The
PowerPoint is.
PowerPoint, yeah.
Okay, cool.
PowerPoint. Okay.
So what's going to happen is when you click on breakout rooms, what's going to happen, the example that I did, which was for the 4 fake individuals, what it is, okay, I assign 2 to one room and I assign 2 to the other room. So like in here, Olaf the Snowman and Scuttle the Seagull go together because they're both Disney characters. Very logical. And then Tony Stark and Vader the Sith, well, they just decide to go together because why not? So what you pretty much do is assign who goes where. obviously you will not have these individuals in your own room, although Scuttle the Seagull did join us today just to see a student's perspective. Okay. So what ends up happening is afterwards you do have options. Okay, so let's say you've now assigned everyone to your room. You have options of how long to leave the room open and also how much notification to give them when they are in a room. So for example, if you only want the breakout room to be 10 minutes long, it will be 10 minutes. They will get a notification and you can close all the rooms and pull them back. Now, if you find that none of the conversations are productive, you can always prematurely also take back everyone. 15 seconds seems like a very long time when you're the facilitator. You can also change it to 30. 30 is the default. And maybe that is enough, especially if they're having deep and meaningful conversations. If you feel that's not the case, 15 might be enough. And what they do is they get a notification that the breakout room is closing and that the groups are going to be pulled back into the main session, in which case they will come back. I don't know if there's more to add to this.
Can you communicate with all the breakout rooms at once if you want to talk to
Yes.
everybody?
Great question. So yes, there are a couple of good ways. One of them is the broadcast. So very early on, when you put them all into, you can give all the class instructions of what you want them to do. And actually, I'm going to use that very feature when I actually put you guys into breakout rooms as well. I know someone
It's just me on my phone.
So, like for example, discuss question number 2. I mean, you can do that, and then what you do is do a broadcast, and that will go to everybody. Now, when you do, yeah, go ahead, Marsha.
Frank, let's pause on the PowerPoint and give them just a little live.
Let's do it between it. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, so far what we have done is we've talked about the concept of a breakout room. You are about to now experience what a breakout room feels like. So what I'm going to do is create a breakout room. How many do we have today? We have 12, right?
Now you have 11. I just kicked my phone off.
Okay, and I have one per 10. So I'm actually going to create 3 rooms. I'm going to assign manually. Actually, I'll do them automatically, and I can always see who goes where. Scuttle the Seagull is
Are you sharing your screen?
Unfortunately, if he shares the screen, you won't be able to see it for whatever reason. Basically, they won't show your participants what the back-end controls that you're seeing. Frank, you could take a picture of it, though, and put it in the chat.
We could try that. So we got this over here. And
so they can see what you're doing to assign them.
Yeah, I might have to put it through chat. I'm not sure if I can just simply cut and paste it. Let's find out. Let's go to everyone in meeting. That didn't work.
You should be able to take a picture and then attach it as a file to the chat.
But I probably need to actually save it as a file, right? Let me do that.
Just a picture, I think.
Yeah.
It's a file.
I heard a picture get taken.
Well, you heard the snapping sound, so this is a good sign. So what I'm doing is, so one of the advantages, I don't know if I think you guys have covered this part before, like you can share files. So that's what I'm doing right now. Are you guys able to see that okay?
See what?
Well, click on the screen. So there is something that came through, which was called screenshot in the chat stream. You see screenshot 2020, 0814 at blah. Click on that, open it, and you will see what I'm actually looking at or was looking at.
Perfect.
It's in the chat?
So when I clicked automatic, so yeah, if you click on chat, you should be able to see on the right side, there's something that says screenshot 2020 08 14.
Nope, I don't have that.
That's interesting. Do you have the chat window open?
Yeah, I've got from James, from Marcia, from Cindy, from Marcia, from Mariana.
Okay, scroll down all the way to the bottom.
I only have the option to download it and then have to save it and then open it.
Yeah, that's how it is.
You can only download.
Yes.
You can only download?
Doesn't it like you just simply click it?
No.
The name? Okay. I wonder why.
It downloaded it to my computer and then I just opened it. So now I'm looking at it.
Mine just opened right away.
Okay.
It's not going to open. Remember, this is a file. It's basically the equivalent of if we were going to send you an email with the screenshot. Think of it that way. That's what we're able to do through the chat, if that makes sense. So it's not a, don't think of it like if, you know, when you're texting iPhone to iPhone, you're sending a picture directly. It's basically just like we're emailing you a file versus having to put it in Google Drive, link it, and then send you the link that way.
Okay, so if I go to chat, I should see something from Frank.
Stan is frozen for me, so it's possible he's having a bit of an internet slow connectivity issue.
Okay.
Oh, I'm frozen?
Yeah. Is he frozen for others?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Stan, I think it's there you go. Okay, now look at it. I think your internet was just hiccuping for a minute.
I'm moving now, right?
Yes.
All the way to the bottom. You should be able to open and download the.
Make sure you're scrolled. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've still got the same thing when I'm in there. Am I frozen now?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, when I go into chat, it looks like it freezes me. I don't know if it's trying to download your file or what.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, you should have a screenshot.
I can share my screenshot with everyone. How about that?
Okay.
That'll work.
There you go. All right, everybody see that?
Yeah.
So that's what he sent to us.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Frank.
And then what I'm going to do next is, let's say, you know, there's certain group configurations you want to change. At this point, I'm not going to change anything because I think it's fine. Just remember, Scuttle's not going to say much when you guys ask him anything. Okay. But that being said, pretty much what's going to happen is, as a student, what you're going to expect, and this is something you should tell your students as it's happening, is what you're going to be, it's going to happen is you're going to be asked to join a breakout room, and you're going to accept it, and it's going to actually transition you to a breakout room. Now, the host and or co-host can come and actually join you in the breakout room. So right now, this is going to be really your group as you see it. So when you transition, you're going to actually see this happen. Okay. So what is going to happen is I'm going to open all rooms, and you're going to see a message, and then I will send you a broadcast message as well. So are you guys ready? Here it goes. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Tuesday of this weekend, it said, "Hello, Pam. I have sent the list of all requests for Zooms for review by Doug and the IT teams. More communication to follow. I would recommend practicing with a free account for now so that you don't lose time."
My point is, notice I've just hopped into this room, right? And I'm gonna check in with my students, see how they're progressing, and then I'm just gonna simply pop out. So I will see you all later. So hello, you see, this is hi. So this is kind of the part of it. As a host, I can pop into different breakout rooms as the students are working. Obviously, I would have given you guys a real task as opposed to just introduce yourselves, and I'll talk a little bit about that during the actual. So, for example, if you pull up chat, the chat actually is only within our particular. At this point, if I do everyone, it's just the ones who are in our breakout group right here. And I could post a link to a Google Doc or something like that of what question I want them to work on. So I could definitely do that if I wanted to, and give you guys work to do. So, okay, the point being is I've popped in, I've checked in how you guys are doing. Might have had a quick conversation with you guys and then let you guys continue on your work. I'm going to simply now pop into the other breakout room.
Can you pop into all the breakout groups at once?
Well, I can't exactly do that because I would have 3 conversations at once. But what I'm doing is basically I will pop into each breakout room and just go from one to the other to the other. It's kind of like when you're in class and you talk to one group and then you walk over and go to another group. That's the equivalent of what I'm doing right now is you guys are now a group, you guys are working on a particular task, and then as I see how you guys are going, then I will, in this case, pop into another group, which is my equivalent.
Sometimes, I talk to one person, I talk to another person, and then I say, I'm going to tell everybody the same thing because I just talked to 2 people saying the same thing. So I just run up to the front of the class and say, okay, all of you pay attention now. I'm not talking to individual people.
Right. In that case, there's really, there's really 2 options in that one. I would say either I do a broadcast message to all that I see the same question coming over and over again, so let's pull back as a class to let them know, because Zoom will yank them out of their breakout room. I mean, you can yank them back, or you can let the time expire naturally. It's really up to you.
And if you don't want to have a time limit, is there an option for no?
Oh yeah, you can pretty much disregard the yanking back at the end of when the session expires. The Zoom will ask you, do you want to pull them back? You can say no. They still get they still get a message saying, oh, your session expired, but it's not enforced. So you can also you can also do artificially long ones. I just did, I think, the 10-minute version. So now what I'm going to do is pop in and see how the third group is doing on their particular math problem. Okay.
Oh, there he goes. Here he is.
So, as you can see, so I'm just checking to see how this group is doing. So this is kind of the equivalent of what's happening, right? Where I would be popping in and visiting my different groups as they're working on their particular task. Through the chat, I could give them a particular task of what they're working on. So I could have, when I came in, already have a link ready for you guys to go with, or I would have pre-assigned it. So there are a couple of options on that, but quite fun. It's like when you click on chat, you'll notice that the everyone has isolated just to the group at this point.
So Frank, can you view more than one breakout room at a time?
No, I have to choose which one it is, and so I'm going 1 to 1 to 1. So similar to, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
We're talking about using breakout rooms for self-proctoring, putting a student in a breakout room so you can check their ID.
You would. So you would leave the main session alone, right? You'd create a breakout room. And what it is when you do the assigning of the breakout, you'd only be doing the students who are in the breakout room, per se. Or you could have multiple.
So you wouldn't really be monitoring them the entire time.
Right.
Right. So unless you're putting everyone back into the breakout room. Otherwise, you have to, in a sense, hop from room to room to room to room, see how they're doing.
It'd be nice if you could pop in and they not know you popped in.
Well, when I pop in, did you guys hear any musical, or did you get any auditory signal, or you just saw me kind of pop in?
I just saw you pop in. Can you pop in and not reveal yourself?
I guess I could hide my camera, but it's still going to show me that I'm there.
Oh, but you can't do it. Because we were worried you were listening in.
No. No, Frank sucks. It's okay. I'm past that.
So, Frank, in each breakout room, could you have just a name comes out, it says Proctor, and so they're in that room and they say a blank screen with
what's interesting is you can change your name, just like obviously Scuttle the Seagull does not exist. What it is I logged in through one of my mobile devices and then I changed the username to Scuttle. So pretty much you can pretty much assume any identity you want. For all you could do, FBI, what is it? The FBI van, that's one of the famous ones, right?
Right.
So if you turn your video off and you assign your name as Proctor, like Proctor 1, Proctor 2, or whatever,
they would just see a Proctor pop in and then Proctor leaving.
Unless they try to talk to you and you don't answer.
Well, it's supposed to be quiet during a test, so they're not allowed to talk.
You can tell them.
They can text you, yeah.
But they can't. They have to text. Use the chat if they have a question.
Yes.
Or have them remind on their phone open.
That actually is a better way, because what we would say is you don't want to disturb the students who are taking the test currently.
Okay.
There are ways around it, but yeah, definitely. Other questions? It's actually I mean, for proctoring is great, but also for anything else. I mean, when you're actually having them do breakout groups, one of the things I did not do is include a link. Like, let's say I were popping in right now. I might have said something like, okay, here's this random dice generator. Depending on what you rolled, I already have 6 questions queued up. And whichever one you rolled, I'm going to assign that one to, and I'm going to give you a link to that question that you can then edit.
So you can also use breakout rooms for office hours. So I have 3 different preps, so you could have.
Definitely. What's going to happen is that your students end up in the main session originally, and then you can assign them to a breakout. And if you're trying to do simultaneous help, and then make them, what you would do is then go popping back and forth between the 2 rooms or 3 rooms. Usually never gets busier beyond that.
So when you do Zoom, would you have it open all the time where students could use your Zoom, or would you have them do their own free version of it? Like, I'm thinking, what if
I would schedule a session in Zoom. I would open it and leave it open, and as people come in, when it's my first student, I would just do the main session. As you can see, the time is up, but I can keep the room. Well, you guys probably, do you guys see anything or no?
What?
Probably you guys did not see much. Right now you didn't see the message that came up, but right now I can either keep my breakout rooms open because the 10 minutes are actually up, or I can close the room.
But I'm wondering if you, outside your office hours, if students want to use Zoom to
they can definitely use the free account. They won't have the opportunity to do breakout sessions themselves. So they can use the free version if they're working in their small teams. I think it works just fine because really you're just gaining the more features of Zoom, and they don't need a breakout group for their own group. It seems
right.
But in terms of what I would do in an office hour is I would, kind of like what we did for our training session, I would leave the link open and have them join per the password. And if you end up with more than 1 student, then start using breakout groups. Unless they're in the same class, in which case you might decide to make them maybe work together. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I am going to actually close the room. You'll get an announcement right now that the breakout rooms are closing. Here it goes. You'll see all participants have been given 15 seconds to leave their breakout sessions. Right? You saw a message just pop up.
Yeah. How do we leave?
Oh, it'll pop. It will pull you back in 15 seconds. So the instructor will control when. So you're going to actually get pulled. Everyone's going to be pulled. It happened right now. Congratulations.
Hey, hello.
Muted, and also, so you're going to have to unmute yourself. But what's happening right now is everyone is been pulled back into the main session. So that's how breakout rooms work. I originally had it go for 10 minutes. I did get a window popping up saying, okay, the 10 minutes up. When do you want to close it or you want to leave it open? I was in my 3rd group. So what I ended up doing is after finishing a particular conversation, I chose to close, and then everyone got pulled back in 15 seconds. You did get a notification, I believe.
Yes.
So that's how it works. You can also give them a longer notification. I chose 15 because if I'm in a main session, which I'm not usually, I'm usually already in one of the breakout rooms talking.
Really breaking up.
I'm breaking up?
Not for me.
Oh.
Not me.
Yeah, it might be your connection, Mariana.
Yeah. Okay.
We lost.
So hopefully you guys got to experience what that's like. Now we can definitely do way more than this. Trying to think. Okay, we start at 1. We can go to 2:30, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have a couple of other activities, but this was like your first taste of what a breakout room looks like. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch.
Wait, I want to make one comment.
Yeah.
If you are recording, and we are doing this session on recording Zooms right after this, if you are recording and you're wondering what records, so this is the only funny thing, is that whatever is however you have your recording set up, which that's a whole other thing, that's what's going to record. So typically it's set to record the speaker. So if that's the case, then as you, excuse me, as you pop in and out of rooms, it's going to follow you and record that. So you could potentially pause your recording while you're doing that, just so you don't get this random whatever, or you could not, and just know that it's a little disjointed when you watch it back. It's not great, I'll be honest with you, when I've recorded before.
Yeah, from my experiences, anytime I went into breakout rooms, what ends up happening is that it stayed in the main session. So you end up with this big black screen being recorded for like a good half of the class. One workaround for that, which is what I actually did in this session, is I actually used a second recording device, which is Loom. And I had Loom recording with Zoom, which I think is amusing. So the Loom is recording what's ever on my screen. But sometimes you don't want your breakout sessions being recorded because it's a specific conversation in that particular team. So you might not find it appropriate. The only reason I actually have this double recording turned on is because that way, when this is played back, you can actually see how I traveled into the different rooms. That was the only purpose. But normally you would not be doing a double recording like this.
One other thing that Frank, I don't even know if I've told you this yet, that we've been brainstorming about how you could use breakout sessions is for proctoring. So one thing that's come up is, you know, if you're going to choose to do your own self-proctoring, then obviously if we're all in this room together right now, and Frank's our teacher and he says, everybody get out your driver's license. If I hold my driver's license up to the camera, not only can Frank see it, but so can Victor, so can Mariana, so can everybody else in the room can also see it. That's probably not great, right? But what you could do is send everybody into a breakout room, jump from breakout room to breakout room, checking everyone's ID, and say, okay, Marcia, show me, you know, your whatever, show me your desk, whatever you want to see from them, then pull them back into the main session. Now, let's say that all of a sudden I see that Paul, being the weasel that he is starting to cheat. Paul, I'm talking to you. Starting to cheat. What you could do is move Paul into a breakout room. And the beauty of this is Paul doesn't have to accept it. It automatically is going to kick him into the breakout room. So now I can have a conversation with Paul directly without everyone else hearing it, and it's being this super disruptive thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
well, you could just leave them in the breakout room for the whole test.
What?
Could just leave them in the breakout room for the whole test. They don't need to communicate.
You could, but the only problem is, remember, you can't see the breakout room unless you're actually in it. So potentially, but what you could do is put them into groups of 3 or 4 in a breakout room and then just hop from room to room to room. But at least if I have you all on my screen right now, I can see, it looks like Victor is definitely texting someone on his phone, you know, whatever. So it's easier for me to monitor at once versus breakout rooms. You'd still have to hop from room to room to room, which would get a little tiresome in my opinion.
We talked about that a little bit. What if you had more than one device?
I mean, potentially you could put that in breakout rooms then, I guess.
So if I had my computer, my computer, my phone, I don't know if my phone would work, but computer, iPad, phone.
Well, if you look at Stan right now, Stan's logged in 2 places, right? So,
yeah,
and
I just log in on my phone. Yeah.
I can see that Stan's got his notebook out, whatever, and then I can also see Stan's face on the other one. Yep. And you could say to Stan, hey, Stan, just like Monitor EDU does, like, show me the room. Do you have any, whatever you want to do with that. But I think breakout rooms could really help with proctoring. I just don't know that I would leave them in breakout rooms to proctor. I think it would be annoying jumping from room to room. Because as you could see, it does take a few seconds for it to move you. So it's not like it's a quick click, click, it's like click and wait 3 seconds. Okay, now I'm here,
So they're going off to take a test or whatever. They're going to go into more. And we're watching them as they go into more, but they're not seeing all of this anymore. I mean, are they still in our Zoom meeting when they go off to take the test?
So you can, your camera, well.
Like I'm thinking right now, if I went into more, you guys are not going to see me anymore because I'm out of there.
Right, you would need to see the person. Once you verify that they exist, then you'd ask them to share the screen, and then you'd just be watching. I see, actually, that wouldn't make sense.
No, you don't need to share the screen.
You don't need to share the screen. You're just watching them, right, at that point. So the camera's trained on them.
Mariana, you're in an app, right?
No. What do you mean I'm in an app?
Are you on the Zoom app, or are you on a tablet?
No, I'm on my computer. My
Oh, your
window.
camera will stay on unless you turn it off. So watch. You can minimize us right now. So minimize Zoom and launch your
Full
internet.
screen. Okay. And
We
draw
still
that
see
down.
you.
Okay. Can you still see me?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, you don't know where I am, though. You don't know what I'm
No.
looking at.
No, but
I'm
what
looking at
you
my
could
Google
do-
Calendar. I'm looking at the test. I'm looking at information. I'm looking at a site that helps me with the test. Not cool.
Okay. Okay, but here's what you could do. Stan, I'm going to demonstrate with you. Stan, you're my student. Will you please take your phone and point your phone so that I can see your computer screen? Okay, so check that out. So if Stan now put, well, and Stan, can you set it down? Is there a way that you could set it down?
Nah, not right now. I'm
But
not-
well, that's what you could do, Mariana, is say, Stan, take your phone and put it so that I can see your computer. So then at least you
Wait a
can
minute.
watch what they,
So we
you
need
know.
computer and phone for monitoring a test.
Monitor EDU requires you to have 2 devices with 2 cameras.
So my question though is, if you interrupt a student during a test because they're cheating, you either have to put them back in a room before talking to them or disrupt the whole class.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
You just kick them into a breakout room. Right?
You could be quite busy, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't say it was going to be easy. The other option is monitor EDU, $10.
They'll take the headache away from you then.
Right.
With the monitor EDU, they require 2 cameras too.
Yes, it's the exact same.
Well, that's their standard way of proctoring. But if you had 1 student or 2 students that only had their phone and that was it or whatever, you can say, please let the student still test. And what they'll do is set the camera or the phone at like a 45-degree angle so they see both, the desktop and the computer. So they'll do basically whatever you want them to do, but you have to communicate any circumstances that you have. They always err on the side of testing the student and dealing with it later rather than saying, nope, sorry, you can't take your test, talk to your teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to Haley about that, and she said that they're moving away from 2 cameras. They just want to go with 1, which would be the phone, because the phone, they can set at an angle where they can see what's going on. And the other camera being on their laptop, all they're doing is looking at the person. So I guess a lot of places they're just requiring 1, but for us, we're going to leave it at 2.
So during any class session, if you were to go with a student into a breakout room, what happens to the rest of your class?
They just are in the main session.
They just start cheating in the main room.
Or in any setting, not necessarily testing.
But
so then they can continue to talk to one another.
Yeah, except for the only thing is that you don't know. It's not like Frank, pull somebody in the other room. It's not like that they're staring at everybody knowing what's going on, because keep in mind they're doing their work, right? So they've probably got their test up full screen and whatever, so they're doing the work, but it's not like it's an announcement of Frank has now left the main session. Like, he just sort of disappears and then reappears. That's the beauty of it. So
the person just disappears off the main grid if you're in gallery view.
And you don't know, did he get kicked off by the internet or did he actually go into a breakout room? So let's be honest, where there's a will, there's always a way to cheat. But
Frank, knock me into a breakout room. Let's all experience it.
Let's do it. Okay, so all of you are right now pretending you're taking a test, and I'm in the gallery view, and I'm going to open a breakout room because, well, Marianne is just cheating. So we're going to have a private conversation. Now, one of the things I need to do for this one is because what's interesting about this is right now, it remembered everyone's group where they were. So interestingly, I need to add a room, and this is breakout room 51. One of the questions James had asked is how many breakout rooms you did. So I ended up clicking it 50 times and it still kept creating rooms. So good news is, okay, Mariana, and then you guys are just taking your test. And then I don't know what's happening. You guys are all taking your test. And what you'll notice that Mariana just kind of disappeared off the radar, right?
She did.
I don't know what happened. Maybe she lost connection. But actually what it is I actually have her in breakout room. I have her in a breakout room, and everyone else is unassigned.
Okay.
So notice that no one, it's not like there's any noise. It's not like anyone knows. And then Frank could just go check on her. So Frank, go check on her.
But,
and now
we know Frank's gone. We can cheat.
Marshall will rat us out, though.
Yes, I will. Victor?
I didn't say it. That was Stan.
What if
He's got that shady picture on his that I feel like he's for sure cheating right now behind it.
Yep.
Yeah, you could have a second picture of yourself while you go to the other room and have no microphone on it. You have a second device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would never want them, if they're going to join the two devices, you don't ever want them to join audio with one of them. Otherwise, what happens is you get that terrible feedback loop.
Yeah. In fact, I don't know if I get it. There it is. Oh. Do we lose?
Okay,
So
so
I can definitely see us using that for proctoring.
Notice that Mariana's still in her breakout room right now, being very sad to the fact that she was cheating. And now the next thing that I need to do is go back to breakout room and actually literally close the breakout room because it's still an active room. So I'm clicking on breakout rooms and I'm going to close all rooms. There's only one room open at the moment. So she's now being pulled back in 15 seconds. And as you notice, this went very discreetly. Obviously, I announced to the whole class that Mariana was cheating.
I felt like I was in timeout.
Yeah. Is she still in the other breakout room if you want to go back to breakout rooms?
No, I actually had collapsed the room. I think it still exists. The room technically exists. So I could move someone into breakout room. I could move Stan Albert 1 or Stan Albert 2 if he wants to experience what it is to be shunned from the rest of the class.
No, that's all right.
It's a weird feeling. You feel like you're in timeout.
Yeah. And it's actually fun because there's a delay because it's configured to how your great breakout rooms are set up as well. So there's a 15 second delay from when you actually close the room to when the person actually gets pulled out or pulled back into the main session.
You know what I just thought of, Frank?
Yeah.
You would want to disable the chat feature if you're going to do that, because otherwise, like right now, I can send anyone a private Zoom message. You would not want them to do that. I just thought about that.
That's great. So yeah, if you're doing testing, proctor testing, get rid of the ability for them to privately chat.
I'm looking to see where
there is an option
right now, and then I'll share my.
How do you do that?
I just can't.
Because actually there is a way to allow that to happen, and most of the time you do private chat. Yeah, your private chat is really the students private messages. All right, you're sharing. I think you should have the ability to share.
Yep.
With everyone.
Yep. Okay, so again, if I'm logged in, when I first log in to
enlarge a little bit, Marsha, please. Thanks.
What do you want, love?
I want a little bigger so I can not have to sit my head on the screen.
How about that? Okay, so when you log in, here's my first login. It automatically sets you to profile. So we're going to go down and hit settings.
Yeah.
And then it's a decent amount down here. So I'm going to scroll.
And again, this isn't a professional account, so you'll have these settings.
And it's right here. A private chat, allow meeting participants to send a private one-to-one message to another participant. So if I wanted, if I'm proctoring, that needs to be turned off because that would be a big problem if my students could all, because I would not know that they were doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because in the case of Google Meets, you don't have the private chat option. So when you send a message to the whole class, but in Zoom, you do have the ability to do private chats, which is actually oftentimes beneficial. If a student has to leave class for some personal reason, they don't need to announce it to the world. Mm-hmm. But in the case of a proctor test, that might not be the most advantageous feature.
When you do the online classes, when they take their tests, they taking them usually online, like in More or something?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess there are other options as well, but I think for the most part as a department, we're using More.
Okay. And does More still grade the tests then? You don't have to worry about grading them even?
Okay, well, that's a whole different conversation in its own right.
Not
Okay.
everybody's using More.
Yeah, and so that's one thing, is not everyone's using More, so there are other options. Number two, this is my own personal belief. If you're using More, it will only mark whether it's right or wrong, but you want to see your students' work, because that really is a full comprehensive, especially like when you're teaching the higher level classes, you just make one silly mistake and the thing is shot. So it would actually overly harshly grade tests, especially in the higher level classes, because you might be off by a sign and now your integral is wrong or something like that. So I really always insist on them seeing work and then giving them partial credit if it's mostly correct.
How do you see the work if they're doing the testing?
Dan, I'm happy to work with you on any of that. If you want to call me sometime, we can go through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Will do.
Yeah, I'm happy to share any resources as well. But yeah, there's ways to see their work and also have them upload and whatnot. So that way.
Yeah, because I've always done my own tests. Everything's on More. Homework and everything's on More. But test time, I do my own because I want to see what
that's okay too. Yeah, it's really.
And I mean, even in beginning algebra, if they say 1 and 1 is 3, that screws up the rest of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's just a silly mistake. So, they'd cut 10 points for that.
The short answer is they upload their work and you get it digitally.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They convert it to a PDF, and that's how you're able to determine. But you have to insist on them doing that and making that a what I call a norm, a classroom norm.
You can also upload it in Canvas and use the speed grade function. And if you have some sort of device that you can write on electronically, you can grade it that way as well. It's really convenient.
Well, is there a way to just take a picture of what they did on paper and do it?
Yes, and then what you'd want them to do is to chain it together as a file. Otherwise, you're going to be grading 50 different screenshots.
That works. Yeah. I had to turn the page anyway, so.
Okay, let's see. Do we want to, this has been a really fascinating conversation. I just want to make sure that, I think there's still I can't remember. No, closed captioning.
On your PowerPoint.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint because I was trying to remember the closed captioning is actually in our second presentation, not the first one. So let me go back to sharing. And hopefully I got this right. So right now what you'll see is the screen, correct?
Yes.
And then you see a picture of a bird. Okay, so actually you see a scuttle. So one of the things you'll notice is that this is where we were at. You'll notice that this is kind of something similar to what you experienced, right? Where you were joining a breakout room. I think you guys can see my screen, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And then what you'll notice is now you're in the other room, and you'll notice in the case when I did it with a group of 4, I split them into 2 and 2, and then you'll see the different participants in the room. If I want to leave a breakout room, what that will do, if I, as a host, want to leave a breakout room, it will return me back to the main session, like so, and I'll be just sitting here and waiting for everyone to come back. Now, when we were doing it ourselves, I actually was in the 3rd breakout room when the 10 minutes was up, and then I actually got a message to close the breakout room. So what normally happens is when people come back to the main session, they're automatically muted. And part of that is because otherwise you're going to get like 30 different conversations going on at the same time for those who didn't properly wrap up. But this is the message I do get. This is the 10-minute time limit. Do you want to either close now or do you want to leave it open? Depending on how the conversations are progressing. This goes back, I think, to Stan's earlier question, like what do I do? I can either close it now or I can leave it open if I see that the conversations are in a productive direction. Because sometimes we either underestimate or overestimate how long it's going to take. So this is one way to either leave it open or just to close it prematurely if you see it needs to be closed. And what's going to end up happening is that everyone comes back up. As you can see, like in the case here, this is everyone, and you'll notice that everyone has been muted. For the ones that I did and you guys had this in a different session, the ones that I had from my mobile devices, I really had them already muted and not let them have audio connection. because that creates a whole different problem, which might be covered in troubleshooting. How to prevent feedback when you're trying to use multiple devices. Because it's awesome if you don't do it well. If you do it right, you'll get like ultimate feedback, whether it's through a video or through audio sources. Okay, so ideas for breakout rooms. We've actually talked a lot about this already. So sharing a Google Doc with your students and have them write on the breakout room. I'm going to actually do that to you guys if you want to have that experience, or we can also have a conversation as a group of things that you guys are interested in. So we did prepare some things depending on what you want to take out of this training session. You can also pose it a question, let them solve it as a document in class. Once you leave the breakout room, use them to proctor your midterm. We've talked about that some. Or to give them a website to explore in their group, you can place in the chat. And that really is the PowerPoint part, but I'll explain what I mean by that. So I think you guys can still see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Now, of course, this looks like a disaster at the moment. But one of the things is, let's see, I know it's in one of these tabs. I think it's here. Like, for example, I might in my class already have some of the things that I wanted to do. Like random.org does some, like you can do a virtual dice roll and have, for example, students do a virtual dice roll, and based on what they choose, I'll show you what I mean by this.
They play Dungeons and Dragons.
Pretty much. I can, for example, have it, and then I can do it again. Roll again. And roll again. And you can also change it to rolling 2 dice. I mean, the site is really great because you can do a bunch of different things. But depending on what they choose, okay, you're doing question number 4. And so what it is ahead of time before they started, I have all these questions already set out to go. And what I'm going to do now is go over here. I'm going to go back one. Let's see, I think it's here. I have question 1, 2, 3. So maybe I do a mod 2 or something like that. So for 2, I'm going to say, I'm going to actually share. I would end up sharing the question. And I say, okay, to the students, go to this folder. I'm going to share. And then what I would do is through the chat or in their group, let's say they're in the breakout room. So I got this. I'm just going to copy the link. And let's go to the chat stream, which is what I'm looking for here. It's under more, I believe. Yeah. You'll notice that I gave you a Google link to a publicly accessible. So what it is it lets the students then actually edit the file straight on. And I believe this is the farmer's question, if I did correctly. So if you click on that link, you'll notice it'll open a new tab. And I think I did it right, hopefully.
Oh, look at that. Is it under chat?
Yep, I just did it. And you'll notice that when I click on it, it's opening up a link. And it's going to open up a folder. And you can also have them do the direct file. But what it is I just want them to do the farmer's question. As I thought I do. And that would be what I would assign to that particular group. So like, okay, using Poyet's principles of problem solving, the farmer's question is a farmer had in a barnyard. I count 24 heads and fit 80 feet. How many pigs and chickens are there? Use 2 different ways of reasoning. And then I give them instructions. I want you to type here. And if you have a Zoom whiteboard, which is something I don't know, did we do that in earlier sessions, Marcia?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
The whiteboard? Okay. So what you could do is have your students pull up a whiteboard, have them annotate it, and then actually have one of them save it and then upload it, the image, right into the doc. And so when we're having a class discussion, they could actually have their work already pushed out here if they had that. The assumption is that they have something they can reliably write on, like some sort of whiteboard or a bamboo type of device or something similar like a stylus, where or have a designated person who's the designated scribe. So there are a couple of options there.
Or they've got one of those cool $11 arms and uses their phone.
Exactly. Do we want to talk about that, Marcia? We have a new audience today.
Well, I think most people heard me talk about it yesterday, but
I've not heard you talk about it. I've just seen your email, so I want to know.
There is a cool device on Amazon that's $11 that basically turns your phone into a document camera that you can write on underneath. So potentially we could share this with students, and if they wanted to spend I think Diane said she found one for $9, but 9, 10, 11 bucks, then they could use their phone, flip the camera around right underneath of it, and then take a picture and put it right in the Google document or other things.
Which is exciting. It opens up possibilities.
I'll put the link in the chat in case you didn't get it yesterday.
Hey, Frank, just brought up a question. When you're recording, if you go into a breakout group, does it record just that breakout group too?
It does not. Now, what's kind of interesting is that depending on how you set it up, it can either follow you. The way that it's set up is usually it's only recording the main room, which leads to a lot of boringness in the middle of your
yeah.
Now, there might be what I call pedagogical reasons why you don't want the breakout rooms being recorded, because that really is a group conversation. But what ends up happening when you have, and this is kind of in the recording part of our presentation in the second one, you can always download and trim it, because oftentimes when I was doing my stats, half of the class was maybe, let's say, more direct instruction, and the second half of it was group work. So the first half of it was like, okay, that's interesting. But once you get to the second one, you just see a black screen with the occasional person popping in and joining their breakout group because they had accidentally got disconnected. So it's not particular. It's very, let's put it this way. Second half of the class is really boring from the perspective of a person viewing, because it's just a black screen with sometimes people popping in and disappearing. Not very exciting. And then sometimes the sadder part is when someone sits there and doesn't realize that they can just rejoin their own breakout room. That is when oh, it's cute. I don't know what it is, but it looks cute.
S is lesson H.
Yeah. It's so awesome that you can write on it directly. So this is the powerful part of what we can do here.
Who is writing on? How do you get in to be able to write on that?
Okay.
The annotate up at the top. Go under view options and annotate.
Okay, so you have a little thing that looks like a green thing, right?
And I'm the one that couldn't resist figuring it out. 8 chickens and 16 pigs.
Oh, is that what that says?
So go, okay, so you'll see where it says screen. Okay, so where it says.
Somebody circle the annotate.
Okay, to click on annotate, what you do is you see that little green bar on the top?
No.
Okay, what do you have on the top or on the side?
Look at the very top of your Zoom window. It should say you are viewing Frank Marfai's screen.
I am not seeing that.
You're on
All I'm seeing is a screen. Now you've got Safari on the top, so Frank must be on the Apple.
So go back to the Zoom screen, because it might be the Safari on top is blocking it.
Maybe he's in full screen.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Stan, hit escape.
Escape? Yeah, how do I do that on a tablet?
Get out of full screen.
I'm not sure how to do that.
I was in full screen. It still worked. It still showed up.
Tablets are a little different.
That's you're not on
yeah, right. It says the screen's on the bottom.
Let me look. Hold on.
See, I got a tablet, so don't have all these buttons. I'm gonna have to buy a camera so I can play on my computer.
Okay, I hear someone trying to join. So
it's me.
Okay.
Stan, there should be on, if you click on your tablet, there should be a little pencil with a blue circle around it. Click that.
Oh, yep, I saw it. I went away fast.
Okay. Touch your screen.
Oh, that's me.
There you go. You got high.
Yeah, I got high. That's as good as I get. That's better than my regular handwriting, believe it or not.
Now, one of the things is when you have the annotation tools, you can also save, if I'm correct, the way we set up the original Zoom recording or Zoom meeting is you should be able to save a screenshot of what you have. So all the hearts, the help, and the hellos will be saved as a picture file, if I'm correct.
How do you do that?
when you look at the little annotation tools, is there an option which says save?
No.
I think is there a more option on the app?
Click on more.
Yeah.
I don't have a more either.
The blue circle thing that you just did, there should be a more there.
No, it went back. I got a whole bunch of stuff like pen, highlighter, line, blah, 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 erase, undo, redo, and clear. More? No. Up, no. Oops,
How about
all I'm doing is writing now.
I don't think share content would do it, right? Screen?
Yes, share content will do it.
Do share content.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, if you're on a mobile, I'm thinking.
Maybe not.
I don't know. This, working on a tablet is a pain because I don't get the whole thing. I'm missing some stuff that you guys had, I think. Stop writing. Go away.
Yeah, I got the same thing,
Oh,
Frank.
there's a more. Okay, I got more. Wait a minute. What was I looking for under more?
You found it? Okay.
Yeah, what's under more that I'm looking for?
I'm thinking it's going to be, Rat, know what I had it there.
I've got a chat and a view transcript and a raise hand. What happens when you hit raise hand, by the way?
Try it. So Stan raised his hand.
I see a picture of my hand in the middle of the screen.
And also the host saw the raising of the hand. So I'd say, Stan, what's your question?
Oh, okay. So you know who raised it, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, assuming you're going in as Stan. I mean, you can also change your name and be like the most awesome person on earth, and that is your name. The most awesome person on earth.
Stan and that thing are the same thing. They're synonymous. Okay, so how do I get rid of it now? Go away.
Virtual.
Lower hand. Oh, I have to go back in and lower my hand.
You would click it again.
Yeah. So can you only save it from the meeting host?
Actually, if you're on I just thought about this. If you're on the on your own iPad or something like that, there should be a way. Like in the case of an iPad, you just simply push down the button and the upper, and that'll take an actual screenshot of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not an iPad. It's a
the Android type or the iOS.
Android type. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't pay the extra 3 times as much to have an Apple.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we can look into it. So there is a way, definitely. Like, let's say you're looking at all this stuff, you can take a picture of it, and that way you have a. Also, I believe this will save for posterity. And when I stop sharing, I think it'll also take a screenshot and then take all the annotation away. Okay. Although the hearts and the help and the hello are beautiful, I must say. Yeah. And the solution to the problem as well, I think, is there somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
What other things do we want to talk about? Do you want me to progress? Actually, we did end up, the PowerPoint presentation part is done. Annotation is something, do you guys want to play with the whiteboard some or no?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do a stop of his sharing. I'm going to put you.
Sorry, guys, I need to leave. I'll catch you next week.
Well, thank you for coming.
Everything's okay. It's just my head is absolutely full of this stuff. I can't do it anymore.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, thank you for coming, and we hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. It was great. Yes.
One request while you're leaving is the same link for evaluating our sessions. please do use it.
Yeah.
And just select the different session. Okay. I tried to be efficient and just create one survey with a drop down, but your guys' feedback will help make either future sessions and also make Title V quite happy, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. What time is it? I want to make sure I'm also respectful of everyone's time here.
We got 10 more minutes.
All right, okay, so we're going to go out with a bang. What other questions do you guys have? Or do you want to play with the whiteboard thing?
Whiteboard stuff.
All right, let's do whiteboard. So what I would do is do breakout groups. Marcia, you think that's a good direction, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see, okay, so one of the things you can do, let's see, I think I'm still sharing my screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I just need to figure out how to get back to the other one.
You need to unshare. Yeah. You're back.
Funnier. So yeah, I muted myself. That's the best. Okay. So we're going to do is share a screen. So one of the things is I showed you, one of the options is to have a folder pre-done and have it publicly available that students can do particular problems. So you plan that ahead of class. The other thing you can have them do, I'm going to turn on the whiteboard. If you have a stylus, this is a very useful thing. Of course, right now you're seeing me do a whiteboard. That is so boring. Let's try something different. I want to put you guys in breakout rooms. You might not be in the same groups because I had to, in order to do the demo for how do you take a person who's cheating, I had to kill everyone breakouts. Now, Sten, I guess I have to put 2 of you in the same room, correct?
Sure, that'd probably be best.
Okay.
Actually, I can log off the second one. Let me just kill the second one.
Okay.
I just want to see if it would work on the phone, so I think I left. Leave.
So I'm going to make 3 breakout rooms. Well, I'll put both stands in the same place just in case, so you don't have to feel bad. I don't remember who's where, but Marcia Corby. I guess there's only one of you, Marcia, right?
Is.
Okay, so I'll put 3 here. Then I'll put 3 here. And then I'm going to put 3 here. Okay, here goes. I don't know. And I'm going to open all the rooms. And then so what it is there is an option to do some annotation. So what it is you can also, what I would ask you to do is pick someone who's going to share a screen once you get into your breakout room. And when you get the choice of what you want to share, click whiteboard. So decide who is going to do the sharing, and then that original person is going to open up a whiteboard. I will join you guys shortly.
The whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay, are we back to the main section? Yeah, there's Frank.
Okay, you're all coming back, I believe, right?
I can see you.
Well, I can't see myself, but that's okay. I don't want to look at myself. Okay, everyone, right? So we are now finished or getting close to the end of the session. There's a half-an-hour break between our session and the next session that's coming. One of the things is we hope that you found this helpful, and what you just noticed is that in the chat stream, you will also have, this is the link to the evaluation form. We do ask you to please evaluate the session that you just experienced. If anything you want to see in the future. There's only so much that can be done in an hour and a half, but we really wanted this to be participant-led. So a lot of what we planned was based on the flow of what you guys want to learn. We did have a basic plan, and then we amended as we saw fit based on what you guys wanted. So hopefully you found this session helpful. Did everyone get the link?
I got the link.
Yes, thank
Awesome.
you.
Really, our goal was to make sure that if you're coming to the interactive session live, you got a good experience and it went to what we're trying to learn. But we also want to make sure that our colleagues who cannot make it, we're also having an opportunity to learn along with us. So hopefully we hit all the spots that are of interest to people. If you want to take a repeat session and get a slightly different take, we'll do this again next week as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So long, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, you guys take a break. We'll see you in a bit, or we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.